everyone. Welcome, welcome. Super excited to have y'all here. I am going to talk a little bit just for a couple seconds since I know folks are coming straight from the workshop we had right before this. So hopefully this will give you enough time to refresh your Twitch stream before we get going here. But super excited to have you all join. We have a second workshop from the Snowflake team here. So without further ado, I'm going to bring James from Snowflake on here and let them take it away.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second Snowflake workshop. Here, we're actually going to do a hands-on workshop on how to get started and utilize the account you made in the last workshop. We're going to work with LLMs as well as a lot of functionality that Snowflake has within our AI system called Cortex. For everyone to get started, there is a website that should have been provided or will be provided in a moment. Mary, can you make sure that the folks get that URL? And please go ahead and go there. It should look like this page here. I'll give everyone a moment to go there to make sure that you are with me. So this is our solution site. So as you're learning how to use Snowflake and its products and the technologies that we do have, this is a great place and resource for you to go and learn more. You can go here and ask and find what you need to do particular tasks. So great one to bookmark for all of y'all. So from here, we are going to use Snowflake Cortex in the context of us being owners of a business called Tasty Bytes. We have multitudes of food trucks in our business, and with that, we have all different kinds of personalities, kinds of food, and the audiences that we work with. From there, we've gotten customer feedback from them, and we want to make sure we analyze that data, understand what our customers are saying, and then take some actions from it. So this will allow us to do all that and work with folks across the world to make that actually happen. So if everyone is here, let's go ahead and go to the quick start guide. So the quick start guide, go ahead and follow this link here. I will follow along with you, and it should take you here. Fantastic. So this is a quick start guide. We'll break it down into step-by-step pieces so that way you can go in and understand what is happening, and also a good way for you to, if you're working on this offline without my help, then all of this is here to help you walk through everything. But we're here together. So let's go ahead and walk through this guide together. And if you have any questions that come up, please go ahead and ask. Throw up a comment, and then we'll get to it as we go. So this is our journey together, so please be part of our journey. So from here, with the account you made earlier, that's where our work is going to be. So hopefully you've already gotten that ready. Rita provided you all the details to get that started. You are rocking and rolling and ready to go. All right, so now that we have this, we have everything set up, we are going to go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to use Snowsite, which is the UI for Snowflake, to be able to do a lot of these commands, so that way we could do get our tables ready, our objects in, and have everything ready for us to dig in and use our use Cortex against all the data that we do have. So let's take a moment to do so. So if you have already, you have your Snowflake account. Yes, magical folks. And from here, we are going to go to projects and go to worksheets, and we're going to create a new worksheet. Wonderful. Here we are. We are going to go back to that documentation and then do a nice little copy pasta. So that way we make sure we have all the instructions and all the things that are needed to do what we want to do. So let's go ahead, navigate back, and then plop it in. All right, so from here, if you've done all that, we are going to do a Swifty run all. So that way we have everything ready and good to go. So as it's doing its magical things, just quickly to let you know what is happening here. We're creating databases, we're creating schemas for all the data that we are going to add in. We're creating a warehouse where we are going to run our queries as well as the rest of our code, essentially our notebook and everything else. We switched to that warehouse so that way we can do that. We are pulling in some other data from a S3 bucket, and we are creating those tables across the board so that way everything is prepared for us to move to the next step. And then at the very end, we got this little sweet little message saying our setup is now complete. So I'll give a moment for people to do that. Yes. And as we are waiting for folks to be on the same page as the rest of us, we're going to go back to that quick start guide. See how helpful this is? All right. So for our next step, what we are going to do while everything else is getting set up, if we're still waiting for that, is to get the notebook. So we have a nice notebook for you to go ahead and grab. So from there, it will take you to GitHub to get it. And then once you're there, go ahead and, so let me go back one step. So you should be here. You can go ahead and go into it, get a quick look at it. And best of all, we can go ahead and download this. And as you see, if I've already done it before, and then we'll take another look at the instructions over here at our quick start. So now that we've done that, we are going to add this notebook into Snowsight and then get everything else ready. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, switch to this tab. We are here, and then we are going to go to notebooks. We are going to import. I think that I would say that's one of the key important steps for y'all. Make sure you import the notebook that we are going to use. We have our database selected. We are going to use the analytics schema. And then for our warehouse, we are going to use the Tasty Bytes one that we've created before. And then we are going to create. And voila. Here we are. So as this needs to take some time to get everything else running, we are going to quickly add the packages that we need. So there's a list of them here. So the first one is Seaborn. We're going to add that. We're going to use MATLAB. So we're going to bring that in as well. We are using Snowflake, Snowpark Python library, as well as the Snowflake ML Python library. And then this will take a moment to get started. So let's start our notebook up. That will kickstart the warehouse that we are going to use, and we'll grab all the packages that we just asked it to grab. All right. Yeah, so the question is, can you show us how to create the database and warehouse part? Yes. Let's go back and go to our, let's exit back out. In terms of worksheets, go ahead. If you haven't done it before, go ahead and create the worksheet itself. And then from there, if you go to the quick start guide, we will go back and take a look at it. On step 2, go ahead and copy all of this. Copy all that in. Then we will, is it, yeah. Is it more readable for folks? Perfect. Okay, so second step, copy. Unfortunately, you can't just do like select all. You have to like click it and start highlighting. Once you're there, please go to the warehouse and then copy all that in. And then top right, drop down, and then you can do run all. And this will create all the databases for you, as well as the tables, and structure everything that you need. Cool. So while this is happening, just to catch everyone up, once you're doing this, make sure you go back to the quick start guide, go to step 3, then go to and download the notebook, which will take you to the GitHub page, which looks like this. Go ahead and click into it, and then you will download this particular one. Once you're there, we will go back to Snowflake. We'll get this nice little message letting us know the setup is done. And then from there, we move to the next step, which is going to notebooks. So just to go over it again, what we're going to do is import that file that we downloaded, which is a Python notebook. Let's make sure we're picking the right database, as well as the schema, which is analytics, and then the warehouse, which is Tasty Bytes. There's a question about the packages. I was listening at the package names. So for us to utilize those packages is, essentially what you're saying. We have to install them and let the notebook know which packages we want to use. So here we need to select them, which is the ones we have is Seaborn, Matplotlib, Snowpark, so Snowflake, Snowpark Python, as well as Snowflake ML Python as well. Uh, case sheet. Make sure you can select the role. Just switch over to sysadmin or account admin just to make sure you have access to everything. And if you're using the same account that you made with Rita, you should be able to do that for yourself. Great question. Where do I make that? Where do you make that change to get to switch roles? So bottom left-hand corner, click where your initials should be, and you should be able to switch your roles here. Okay, for folks who are so far here right now where we are, uh, make sure you start the instance, start the session, and then just go ahead and click run all because this takes a little while. So as we're all trying to catch up to where we are, for folks who are ready and at this point so far, please go ahead and click that and have it run. Okay, we're getting some authorization errors in terms of getting access to the certain views. So what we are going to do, there's a couple things we could do. Probably the easiest is for us is to, I'm gonna exit out this notebook real quick. So let's just restart from here. From here, thanks, Anna. And in terms of the line that Anna provided us, there is the database you want to get access to. Instead of RetaDB, it's the TB-VOC. So I know at this point it doesn't seem like a highlight, but something I do want to highlight is the reason why Snowflake has these permissional things is to make sure data is secure, and data is super important for everyone involved across the board. So there's certain permissions and roles, and for folks to be able to access this data, imagine like you're at a 8,000 people company, and not everyone should get access to certain data. So you want to make sure certain folks have access to the data they should have access to, and access they need to be able to do their jobs and their roles. So this is what it provides them. In our example here, trying to go through, it does provide some blocks, but this is very intentional, and it's a very important thing for all of us. Okay, so if folks are, let's do this. If people are in the notebook right now, so if you want to get, that's a really great question. Be able to, um, the let's go. I'll answer one of the questions real quick, and then I'll show you what Anna is saying, just so that way we can all be on the same page. So, um, can you use external tools? Yes, of course. Again, it'll be like within the permission sets themselves of what you can access to, as well as you'll need like an API key and be able to get access to the data. There are some connectors out there as well in terms of languages that you want to use, and you can put your credentials on all that jazz. So you can get access to Snowflake data externally, uh, but the intention of having all these great tools within inside of Snowflake is for you to not have to move it across the internet into some other place, which puts your data at risk. It's just imagine like you're writing your password on a post-it note and you're leaving it around and you make copies of it. Like more and more people can probably find it and see it at that point. So having everything in one secure place is a benefit. Just let's go ahead and do what Anna is indicating in terms of doing it within the worksheets. You can use the one that we used before. If you want to use a new one, that's up to you. We will provide it access to ourselves. Oop. And that should be what you're doing. Okay. Let's go back. If folks are here, yes. So the request was to copy what I put into the worksheets real quick. It's the I can't seem to put a comment, but it's what Anna provided to y'all. Hey, Anna, there's one typo. It's VOC, not VOIC. Thank you. Yeah, so Anna provided that. Thanks, team, for putting it up into the stream. So if you do that, you should have access to the database now. So let's go back. Let's go back to the notebook. If you are having trouble, though, please let us know in the chat so that way we can support you. Just to move everyone else forward, I'm going to go back to the notebook and start running through this with folks. So if you're here, again, make sure you have the packages that are necessary. Again, it's matplotlib that you should add, Seaborn, Snowflake ML Python, as well as Snowflake Snowpark Python. If I'm going too fast, I apologize. Also, you can go to the quick start guide, and all these steps are listed there as well. Like we won't leave you hanging, but we will push forward for the rest of us. Awesome. So right now, the warehouse is warming up, so that way we can go ahead and go through this. If your warehouse is already up and running, you're at this point, again, go ahead and please run all, so that way everything else gets done. Thanks, Anna. And once you get there, it's step 3, and it should be highlighting that one once you're there. So check step 3 for the packages that you'll need as well. So we have 2 folks who are having trouble in the Cortex Translate cell. Anyone else? Okay. We will try to address it. Can you go ahead and try rerunning it? Just that cell. Let us know if you're getting the same issue. Okay. We will find a solution for you in a moment. Okay, same issue. Can you just triple check you have the right you have this role too? You should have access to that model. Okay, as people are running this, catching up with us as we're debugging in certain areas, let's go and just talk about what is happening here, so that way you have an understanding of the work that we're doing to essentially understand our customer base. So as we talked about, we are Tasty Bytes. We have food trucks across the world. And what that means is we have customers across the world speaking different languages and coming to our food trucks and getting some really great yummies across the board. And with that, we have within Snowflake Cortex is a multitudes of different pathways to actually like translate and get that data into a form we want and need, so that way we can do analytics across the board and get an understanding. So with that, we have a great function called translate. So as we are and have folks from different places speaking different languages, we can translate that to English, so that way it's something that we know and understand, and normalize our data sets as well. So from there, we also have the ability to use what we call complete, which is utilizing the LLMs that we want to use to be able to do stuff with our data. So here we provide a task in our prompt in terms of providing data and ratings based off the results and what is being said in terms of what the customers are saying. So if the customer is saying like this taco was great, it will be rated as a good comment. If it or a comment that is providing analysis of like it's a good food. If it's poor, if someone says like, oh, all my food was cold, that is a rating of poor, as our result of what happened is poor. So we have all that. It's doing all those great things. And if you follow along our great quick starts, we can talk about all these. It talks about all these steps as well. So that way you understand what is happening. Again, You will not be lost. So as I said, we're going to do some translation to make sure we normalize our data, make it in English, so that way it's something that myself and our immediate team can understand and read. From there, once we got that translated, we can use our LLMs to be able to do an additional function of providing a rating. So again, if someone is saying something good about the meals they're eating and the service they are getting provided, then it will mark it as good or excellent. If it's something that is said that is a poor reflection of us, it will mark it as awful or poor, or it could be okay. So that's one set of data that we do get. Another thing is the overall sentiment of what people are saying in the review itself. This ranges from -1 to 1, so -1 being the most negative and 1 being the most positive. This gives us a score of what people's sentiment is in terms of what people are saying. Something that's very positive or negative across the board. And just to go back to the rating step, and this is a step for categorization, just so that way we have understanding of what is happening. We're getting the sentiment from our customer data itself, and then we can do even deeper dive in terms of it. So from here, with the information that we do have, with the categories of okay and the ratings, we can also utilize the sentiments that we got from our last step. And then the additional details we have, we're creating a prompt for Mistral Large is the model that we're using. And this will give us the categorization of sentiments across the board in terms of the review itself too. Yeah, we can go a little bit more details in terms of the prompt itself. So let's go ahead and start with this one. So my screen is too big to get the full text in there, but as we could see here, the instructions that we are providing to the LLM is you are tasked with rating customer reviews. And within our global food network called Tasty Bytes, which is a business that you and I are in, we are going to be using the ratings to be able to get an understanding of what people's notions are of our business and our food trucks and what is happening there. And the categories that were provided is awful, poor, okay, good, and excellent. So that way the LLM itself will categorize these things as one of these. So we have an understanding of that. Then we give an example of what that is. So that way we have the LLM has an idea of what kind of format we want back. So this is the review that we provided. The Freezing Point ice cream truck in Seoul offered a mix of classic and unique options. The sugar cone and waffle cone were both fresh and crisp, providing a satisfying crunch. The bottled water and iced tea were standard, as expected. The standout, however, was the mango sticky rice, a delightful blend of sweet and tangy. It was a refreshing twist to the usual ice cream flavors. The service was efficient, but lacked a personal touch. Overall, it's a decent choice for quick, cool treat in the city. For us, that would be a rating of good. So that's kind of how it starts. So we gave we told it the instructions, we provided an example of what it will do, and from here we're going, hey, here's the list of data that we have, and it's providing all that data to it, so that way you can go through all the rows, and then provide ratings for all of it. For the sentiment, is just a function within Cortex that you can utilize. And then from here, we're combining all those things together. So that way we can get a deeper dive into everything. I'm going to provide them in different categories. So that way we have, we can get the understandings and compress them. So we have a good way of, a good way to understand where the issues are in terms of, not issues, but the comments are. Are they about the food quality? Are they about the service itself? Is it about where it is? And be able to provide that category in terms of the comments. Yes, it means literal. So that way, if you have a flit, what that means is a literal like prompt. It will provide in the prompt itself. So whatever variable, whatever that contains within that variable itself. That's a great question. So here we are going to categorize again, utilizing Mistral Large, so that I'll make all that happen, providing the prompt itself. I'll let you read the prompt itself. And then we also provided an example of like, here's the information that we will provide to you. This is how we want the data out. All right. So let's go and check back on our notebook. And again, well, I don't know if I've said it before, but whatever's in the notebook is going to be aligned with whatever's in the quick start. So if you're much more comfortable in working and reading through a notebook, it is here. I feel like the quick start, what it provides is like, hey, if you want to analyze everything that's happening in chunks that is relative and a collection of the concept, it's a great place to go. Otherwise, if you really want to like dig into the dirty, then the notebook has everything as well. So we get the translate, we're getting the ratings. We are at this point where we want to get more data for us as well. Yes, it does take a little while to run through. So here with this one that we have here, we are going through and analyzing the customer reviews once again, and then categorizing them into, are they likely to recommend, unlikely, or unsure to recommend. So we're running through that, getting understanding of all that, bringing that all together. Here's a nice little chart of which trucks are the most popular and folks, and the ones that we are not so popular or not likely to recommend. So our lowest rating in terms of repeatability or recommendability is the Kitakata ramen bar. So for us, as our business is growing, all our food trucks, we have multiple food trucks under the same brand. So for Kitakata ramen bar trucks, we have multiple different trucks, and these are IDs of those trucks, and which just provides us an insight of which truck specifically is giving us those scores across the board. It sounds like some provide a great service and people are content at what is happening, but other ones, they're not so much in terms of the happy side. in terms of recommending this restaurant to other folks or this food truck to other folks. So we can identify that. As we see here, number 5, truck number 5 is giving us the most trouble in terms of recommendations. All right. So as we're going through, we are adding layer on layer in terms of data of what our customers are facing, what kind of reviews, what kind of reviews they're leaving, where the pain points are, and we get more and more data across the board. Up to the point where we can go like, hey, we can utilize the LLMs to be able to provide us more and more data across the board too. So as you see here, we could go ahead and ask it what are the top issues that are happening in terms of within the reviews that we're getting, and then some recommendations of how we can address those things. So as a business, utilizing these tools, we can not just like go like, hey, what's wrong? We can go like, do you have any ideas for us to be able to what that next step is in terms of recommendations to address it? And here we are again, focusing on those trucks themselves, get a better understanding, and getting their average sentiment and how many reviews they're getting with those across the board. We get an insight in terms of the most negatively reviewed one, which we already knew, which is number 5. And then we will use the LLM again here to be able to get some more insights of what like specifically people are saying. So like a drill down into a drill down into a drill down. So with this one, we go, hey, for number 5, which we know is the most negatively reviewed truck that we have, summarize the issues that are happening there and give us a better understanding of it. So it gives us a title of the headings of what those issues are and what in summarization of what the people are saying in terms of it. So here we have the review of cold food. The food is cold. Cold ramen could happen. It is a thing that people do have, but typically people want their ramens warm or hot, and this truck is not providing that. The services is unsatisfactory. People are not happy about the service they're getting at this food truck themselves. And the food, just the food is not where it should be. Either they're overcooked, the ingredients themselves don't look appetizing, and provides a insight in terms of what is happening at this food truck that majority of the people are saying. So from here, as we are the ones running these businesses across the board, something we can do is reach out to this truck specifically, going like, hey, we're keeping an eye on everything. We're getting some reviews across the board. And something nice that we could do is collect all that information that we've gotten in terms of what people have said, in terms of the sentiment, as well as the top 3 complaints that folks have mentioned, and provide that into a email to our owner and go, hey, please pick up your pace. These are the things that is happening and things that you can do to we recommend that you'll do, so that way you have a better experience for your customers. And then we can send this email off on their way. We can add some personal flavor to it and so on, but we have a quick way of trying to rectify what is happening. geography. Just if you're not seeing that specific chart for one of them, go ahead and rerun it. As you saw earlier, even within mine, some of them didn't show up. So if you just rerun that specific field, it should show up. And we'll take some time to help you all debug. But in terms of this notebook and what it intends to do, this is it. This is our chance to provide very directed feedback to our franchise owner who's running that truck and providing them what people have said in a summarization, as well as the top 3 things that people are commenting about in a negative tone and what they can do to rectify those situations. So in terms of pathways, this is it. In terms of the notebook, as well as the quick starts, we've gone to the end. How are people doing? And it's been awesome and been helping all your folks in terms of being able to move forward. Please essentially raise your hand if you need support. And can we also get like a virtual hands of applause for Anna for all the great support she's providing? Yay. And for those all who joined and battled through all these permission issues, like kudos to all of y'all as well. Your patience and dedication to get through is remarkable. And like I said, permission things, goods and bads, but it's to make sure that your data is protected across the board. So it is a little bit of a hurdle sometimes. So great questions are coming up. Is Cortex AI free? So it's part of Snowflake's. In terms of how you get charged and things through the tokens and what is being utilized. So those price points are all on our documentation. We can try to find that quickly. I'll find it in a moment and set it over. For us, we utilize a lot of the open source libraries right now in terms of the LLMs. We did have a really awesome announcement a little while back that we are partnering up with Anthropic and being able to provide a frontier LLM to y'all as a service as well. And that should be coming pretty soon as well. So, but in terms of charge and how it's charged, please look at that guide that we will provide in our docs. And then how is this different? So how is it different than ChatGPT? ChatGPT, so the answer to that is like the underlying model, GPT 4.0, if you're using that one or whatnot, you are providing essentially like textual data to be able to make sure that the LLM is following your instructions across the board. Like if is it different in terms of it? Execution wise, no. And ChatGPT also has a nice little UI that you can, as a consumer, go in and ask these questions. And the other parts are within Cortex, like why Cortex is special, is it really streamlines the way you have to work with those APIs themselves. So as you're a data analyst or a developer, you want to get to the end of the day and be able to make something happen. Cortex AI has the extraction layer on top of it to make things a lot easier. So the translate function that we use, the summarize, the sentiment function that we use has prompts kind of built into it to be able to provide the additional data that you want in a format that you want and be able to utilize. So it does a lot of the legwork for you where you would have to do it normally in terms of trying to get those findings some more. And that's the big gain that you get from using Cortex AI, as well as the quickness of availability for your information. Nothing leaves Snowflake in our use case. so all our data is secure, and it is set through permissions. And I know we're having trouble with that, but it's done purposely in that sense. Great question. In terms of notebooks themselves, you can uh, you don't have to run everything. I know that's a lot. So if you want to run one thing individually, the cell themselves has a button. So G gross V, this is what you can do. A nice little keyboard shortcut is if you're on a Mac, is Command Enter. If you're on a PC, I don't know what the command is. Most likely Control Enter. Yeah, we're putting it at the edge of everything, Paul. This is a very real life. If you're on a PC on Windows, if you highlight or hover over the play button, it should tell you the command for it. I think it's Control. Logically, I would say it could be Control Enter, but it might not be. So please hover and take a look. So one thing that I do want to point out, because we have some time here, is so we have a large set of models I can use. Like I said earlier, we really focus on a lot of the open source models that we can have the weights and do all that, and we provide them as a service up here. So in terms of Cortex Complete, you can pretty much take this as understanding of like, hey, please complete a job of what I'm asking you to do. The first part here, we define what model we want to use. So we're using Mistal large across the board for a lot of these cells to be able to do what we want to do. But you can go ahead and change that to other ones that we do support as well. Let me see if I can get you some of these helpful links. So in terms of let's find you like LLM. Oh, quick question. In terms of LLMs themselves, if you want to utilize a cheaper model, size counts. So find a model that is smaller. So you can use like Mistral 7B, as well as like Llama 3. We can use Llama 3.1, 8 billion. It is really dependent on the size of the model as well. And let's see if I can join chat. I can't seem to join the chat. Here, I'm going to share it in the private chats. If you could provide it to the rest of the folks, please. Thanks, Rosando. So yeah, if you go there to the link that MLH just provided, that will give you a list of all the models that we do support. So that's a good way to take a look and see what kind of functionalities that we do have in terms of further taking your journey down utilizing Cortex. For one, you can something it also does, it can also produce embeddings for if you're doing something like RAG, some great solutions on the Solution Center in terms of finding your journey across that board for that. It does have some context around pricing as well. So if you're going down the journey and want to get an idea of what things could cost, this is the way, and this is where you would find those things. Another thing to understand as well too is the warehouse you're using in terms of costs. So if you individual developer, you want to understand where all your credits are going. It's going across the board, like which LLM you're using within itself, the warehouse itself as in terms of what you're using. And if you want to understand which warehouse you are using, let me go back and share where you can see that. So if you go up here, edit, and then you can see your warehouses. And the Tasty DS warehouse we are using is the medium-sized one. So it is going to take more credits. And yeah, I understand what you're saying, Jude Gross. The amount of credits that you do use through this is a bit. So thanks for going through that journey for us. Anyone else having troubles? And any other questions that people have too? This is great. So as you're going down your journey of being experts at Snowflake, other things to keep in mind is we have a lot of resources. The quick starts are there. The Solutions Center is a great place to find if you have a certain concept that you have that you want a solution for, very likely you'll find it there. So that's another great place. We also have a YouTube channel. So go to YouTube and find Snowflake Developer on there to have more information, closer information there as well. Yeah, those are a lot of great places, as well as some live events that we do have as well. We're doing a little plug here. We also, if you're in the Bay Area, we have a meetup next week in the Snowflake office that you can join us and walk through another one of these workshops as well to get a better understanding of different elements of it. But in major cities, there likely is a meetup group in your city as well. So go ahead and go to meetup and go ahead and look, and you'll find like-minded people out there like y'all, learning new technology, getting really familiar with Snowflake. And if you really get into it and really love what you're building up in Snowflake and want to show other people, we also have a program called Data Superheroes as well. I know I'm plugging a lot at the very end in my sales speech here, but just know that there are a lot of resources for you to kind of reach out to, a lot of community that you can be part of and be part of the Snowflake community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James, for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate Anna as well for helping us grok all of the problems in the chat and all of the errors folks were experiencing. I'm sure everyone here is incredibly helpful for getting unblocked there. Wonderful stuff here. A lot of different things that you could do with Snowflake, and I think we all learned a lot, especially over the last 2 hours, last 2 sessions, including yours, James. If you want to ask any additional questions, we do have a Discord channel. There is a channel there specific to Oracle, so it's called Ask Oracle. So if you have questions throughout the week, definitely drop them there. Someone from the MLH team will help you triage and get the answers that you need. There is also a link in the chat right now for the discourse channel that Snowflake runs. So if you have other questions there, definitely check that out. And during the last workshop, I know some folks are asking about it right now. There is a specific Snowflake sign up for students where you get $400 worth of credits. Definitely utilize that. It's going to help with some of the credits that you'll need to run some of the queries and some of the functionality that you learned over the last 2 sessions. So definitely check that out. Once again, huge thank you to you, James. Huge thank you to Anna in the chat for helping out. And yeah, thanks for everyone at home for joining us. We really appreciate it. That's gonna be it, I guess, for today, unless anyone else has any questions.
No questions, but thank you back to
Yeah.
you too, Rondo, and the rest of the team as well.
Appreciate it. Really enjoyed having y'all here. Once again, honor and a pleasure to be mixing it up with the folks from Snowflake. And for everyone at home, definitely check out those challenges and check out everything else that Global Hack Week data has to offer. And we will see you again soon. All right.
Thanks. Bye, all.
Bye.